Yeti. You
Put it this way, I think Sammy Callahan might as well just change his name to Invader
I
1.
want to know why. Like, he can dodge any question. Like, I'll tell anyone that. You can tell me but I'm going to ask specific questions.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
WrestlingNewsSource.com. All the rest of you yahoos are out there dilly-dillying, you little wankers. We're actually receiving real wrestling news.
This is Rep Screw Rep. Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional. Rep Screw Rep.
Hold two! Arm bar!
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hurst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
So does Rule. Yeah, they do.
What's up, everyone? This is JP. This is take 2 of JP and Joe Bruen on the Irish Whip this week. TIW isn't just the Irish Whip, it's Technical Issues Weekly right now. And Joe Bruen had started out in the wrestling business a long time ago, even though he's not that old of a guy. Started out as a ring announcer, now runs the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is a huge annual event here in New England, in Rhode Island. And it's something that everybody up here looks forward to because we don't get conventions in this way, the way some of the other wrestling markets do. But, Joe, can you give me a breakdown of how you started up in the wrestling business?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. So, lifelong fan since age 3, 1985, and basically through my teenage years. And in 1998, I decided to start my own cable access show via Cox Cable, basically called it Joe's Professional Wrestling Talk Show. Howard Finkel was a big inspiration to me. So I always wanted to use my voice, whether we're interviewing or announcing or something. So had the local show, had local wrestlers in the studio, did monthly shows, and traveled from show on the independents and did backstage interviews specifically for my show, and kind of bumped into the ring announcing deal by mistake. I mean, they didn't have a ring announcer one night for UCW. He didn't make it for whatever reason. And part of the community, basically, I had a gig. They asked if I would do it, and I was a little nervous, but certainly excited about it. And no microphone, first time ring announcing. PA system, of course, with the original that was supposed to show up. And it was a lot of fun, and I thought I did a good job. Basically, from there, down with TW, did announcing for IIW, independent wrestling. I was a long-time announcer for Primal Conflict Wrestling. Did some sound work at one or two shows, the entrance music and stuff like that, for ECW, New England Championship Wrestling, for Sheldon Goldberg. And basically just the WWA, Mike Spada was his ring announcer for 2 or 3 years, and I'm privileged to be the announcer for Killer Kowalski, Walter Killer Kowalski's All-Star Wrestling, did that for a couple years, and just traveled New England. One gig for Chaotic Wrestling as a fill-in for Rich Palladino. He had recommended me, and I was able to fill in for that one show. That was cool. It was a cool experience to work for all different promotions, get a feel of, all the different things going on throughout England.
That is a huge recommendation. I mean, when Rich Palladino recommends somebody to be a ring announcer, especially in the New England area, that's a huge recommendation. I've sat next to Rich watching other ring announcers, and he doesn't say anything negative, but he'll the same way a veteran wrestler would give advice, he'll give advice. So for him,
I've known Rich a long time, and I was a young kid, but the reason he thought well enough of me to fill in, and not just at the Chaotic Wrestling that one time, but he also had me fill in for him at a IIW show as well. So very honored to have done that.
And I won't blow your spot, but some of Joe's interviews are still on YouTube, I believe.
Yes, they are. All right. Yeah, we've got the YouTube page and All Access Entertainment, and you could check out all the backstage interviews and the studio interviews, and that's really cool. I mean, back then there wasn't a lot of people doing that, and it's cool to look back on and see some of the guys that were around the independent scene and some of the stars that were in the area throughout the early 2000s and late 90s.
Now, how did you transition from doing the ring announcing to promoting your own shows?
So basically, they kind of coincided with each other. In 1998, I started the talk show and the ring announcing. And I also have to give credit to Bert Centeno. He helped me out as well, and I was his ring announcer for Ultimate Championship Wrestling in Worcester for a couple years as well. And he really steered me on that ring announcing path as well in the early days. So certainly got to give credit to him. And Anthony Rufo, like I mentioned before, a big hand as far as getting into the business and breaking in, that type of thing. But as far as the ring announcing goes, I kind of went into the promoting around the same time. 1999, started my own show, and it was the HWF, the Hardcore Wrestling Federation at the time. Turned it into Heatwave Federation over time. After a few shows, we changed the name, more family-friendly as far as advertising goes. But it was cool. I mean, it was an experience to be behind the scenes and work with guys from all over New England. And at that time, you had your core groups working for certain promotions. Sometimes there'd be a crossover, but not as often as now you see. In all the promotions, they're always mixing, and which is good to see. It's great that everybody's getting work everywhere now. But at that time, it just wasn't really the case as often. And I always managed to get guys from all different promotions and just bring them all together for one show. And they were family shows, and it was a lot of fun at that time. So we ran that from 1999 until 2001. Did about 8 to 10 spot shows. Alongside ring announcing all that time, traveling around, and basically brought the HWF back after a long absence in 2010 and then again in 2011 for 2 big block party spot shows. And again, mixing talent from all over New England. And it was just a cool experience, and I know you were there. And it was just cool. It was a nice time.
Yeah, I think I was there for both of those, and I believe I saw Kyle Storm fry an egg on the ground at one of them. It was so hot out. But just...
It was 100 degrees first one and 101 the second time, and he actually fried an egg on the ring.
Was it on the ring? It was just... But those outdoor shows, they tend to be a lot of fun, and those two were no different. I mean, you had you guys there. You had at one of them, at least, there was girls from one of the roller derby groups there that was set up. So you just got such a wide variety of stuff when you go to those festivals, and the wrestling was not second to anything there. It was unbelievable. You were right in the parking lot of Whole Foods, and the whole block was just taken up. It was a very cool setup.
It was cool, yeah. A lot going on, rock wall climbing, and like you said, roller derby. There was a watermelon eating contest, and it was cool because out of that show, you saw people that really have come a long way since the wrestling business. The Juice, JT Dunn, Sasha Banks, Taylor Hendricks, Max Bauer, a whole host that came off of those shows, and we're obviously already going strong prior to those shows, but it was cool to have a small part of their success in the wrestling business, getting to see them move on big time.
Now, you just brought up Max Bauer, who's a chaotic guy. Is there a chance that he'll be at the Hall of Fame this year with Brian Fury going in?
Yes, he actually, we just announced about a week ago, will be at the Hall of Fame. He'll be at the ceremony. He'll be there to greet the fans earlier in the day, and he'll be an inductor as well.
That's for those who don't know who Max is. Max was a New England guy, came out, did good, signed a deal with the WWE, and was down in NXT as Max Pelham. I forget what name he had down there, but he didn't last too long.
I believe.
Yes, Axel Keegan. He got injured down there, so they gave him an office job for a little while, and then he eventually moved back up north. So, but completely out of the wrestling business. So, it'd be great to see him again. And that's what you do. I've seen you do it a few times. You bring in guys that don't typically do this stuff, or you get them to show up at your events. Guys like Ted DiBiase has been there. Jimmy Valiant you don't see up here at all, and he'll be in this year. I can't wait to see Jimmy. So what you do different, Joe, is you bring in guys that don't come around this area. There's, the Jimmy Valiants and the Perry Satin. You had the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and stuff like that. Was that your goal, is to bring in guys that people can't see anywhere else?
Right. I mean, it's a mix, really. Like I was saying, it's a blank piece of paper, and it's some very creative. You can just put so much into it, and it's a mix of personal favorites, fan favorites, rarities. You got to have rarities. People, like you said, who you just never see in this area. You always have to have a few of them sprinkled in. We had Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man, in 2013 for Fairhaven. Very rare New England appearance. Yeah. He's going to be joining us again this year and headlining the Hall of Fame. And, he hasn't been back to New England since our last time that we had him in 2013. So he certainly is a rare appearance this way. We have Dan the Beast Severn coming in, who another rare appearance. Body Donna Cloudy, Jimmy Shoulders from ECW.
Yeah.
He's another guy who's never appeared at any convention or anything like that in the New England area. So that'll be cool for the fans, especially the diehards who are always looking for some of the crazier gimmicks and stuff like that. And like you mentioned, Perry Saturn will be here. He'll be inducted into the New England Hall of Fame, as well as signing and meeting with the fans during the day at the Fan Fest. And we just announced today Justin Credible has been added to the Fan Fest lineup. Currently working on a movie for him and his road to recovery, so it'll be good to see him back in the thick of things. Yeah,
we're all praying and hoping for Justin Credible to just make that complete turnaround that we've seen a few guys do. So with the same help that he's getting,
exactly,
it's going to be good to see him on the positive side.
Right.
So it's now, what do you do to track these guys down? Because you brought in Jameson.
Yes.
That was one of the years I was there. Like, I have not seen Jameson on, and I see posters from around the country. I have not seen Jameson on a single other poster ever.
The cool thing about Jameson is, growing up as a kid, I was always a big fan of that character. I just was thoroughly entertained by him, and his real name is John DiGiacomo. His son is actually plays the son on Kevin Can Wait with Kevin James. He plays the son on that show, and he's really hitting it big in the acting. He's done some movies, lots of commercials. Even the Super Bowl commercial with Cam Newton a few years ago, that was his acting debut, I believe, and he's done some plays, and that's basically what John's doing now, just traveling with him and getting him to all these gigs. He's really taken off. But a guy like Jameson, I looked high and low for many years for Jameson. He's one of the characters I wanted to get, and finally stumbled across him after I was almost ready to give up. And reading online articles and different things from fans and little tidbits here and there, finally found him. He was working at a bar in New York City, and called the place, saw that his name was John DiGiacomo, so called the place, asked for John, and that we'd be interested in bringing him in for an event, and basically just kind of brushed off, that he doesn't work here, there's nobody by that name. But I left my number, and I was pretty persistent. I called again, and of course he did work there, so I was able to connect with him finally. And he's like, "How did you find me?" He had never done a wrestling convention, so I can happily say that we were his first. And he wore his exact outfit that he did in the WWF. He said it was in a duffel bag, since the 90s, and it was just cool to have him in full character for the fans.
It's unreal. Like the one of the years I was there, I think Bob Backlund just kind of walked through the audience in the middle of it.
Yes, he was a surprise. We always try to tie in a couple surprises, and he was a surprise that we actually set up with Howard Finkel. Howard was responsible for Bob being there and making that happen, so certainly got to give Howard the credit on that. And Bob and Howard are good friends, and we were able to have Bob sat in the parking lot in his truck with the lights off for over an hour. Nobody knew he was there. And as we were going through some of the last speeches, we were getting into Rick Martel, Tito, and Chief Jay. And right before they went on, I went and grabbed Bob out of the truck, and we walked right in. Howard gave him a nice surprise entrance and introduction, and that was definitely a cool moment, one of the cooler moments over the years.
And you just brought up, so that was one of the years that I was there, and you put me in the same room with Chief Jay Strongbow. And I want to say thank you for that, because growing up, I was all about Chief Jay Strongbow.
Oh, yeah.
In Strikeforce, the same year. That was, I left that, and I was with a couple of friends, Matt and Kyle Storm, who were getting inducted that year. And Matt was like, I can't believe I was just at the table with Rick Martel. Like, how does this happen? Right. I said, I was doing the same thing about just being in the same room with some of these guys. So
sure,
it's just the concept of it, because you get the meet and greet that you get at every convention, and then you get these guys getting up and giving speeches, and you don't get that all the time, and you get to see. Normally they kind of explain how they got into the business and where they got their startup.
Sure.
And you don't get that anywhere else.
And what comes along with that Hall of Fame is, doors open an hour before the ceremony starts. So it is a true reunion for that full hour. Everybody just greeting with each other. And if you're a fan going in there, it's not an official autograph session. So you can go up to anybody and everybody's just greeting each other. And it's a really personable event. So it's pretty cool on that scale.
Now, where can they get tickets for this year's event?
So tickets are available at the door, of course, the day of the show. You could pre-order them if you'd like at www.allaccessentertainment.com, and that's access with 2 X's. Once you're on there, you just click on New England Fan Fest, and you can purchase your general admission tickets, Hall of Fame tickets, whatever it may be. The Hall of Fame tickets are $20. We will have them available at the door, assuming that there are some left, but they are going very quickly. But there will be, plenty of general admission tickets at the door. Those are only $10, so it's affordable for the whole family. And if you're a fan that doesn't want to spend a ton of money, you could spend the $10 to get in, look around, browse around, shake some hands, buy some merchandise. You don't have to go all out. So it's certainly for everybody.
You can literally go and meet your idols for $10.
Exactly.
When it comes down to it, when you think about it, you can't do much for $10 nowadays. So
no. Absolutely not.
It's such a great deal, and it is just a fun environment. The food and stuff that has been there, you've always had good food available, concessions available for fans, and it's always been affordable. It's like you said, it's a real family day. So whether if you're a father and you were a fan of wrestling growing up and your kids are fans of it now, you can go and meet the guys that you watched and see the ones who your kids are watching.
Right.
And like you said, you've had, Mercedes, KV, Sasha Banks at your events before and stuff like that who, you don't know who these people are going to turn into.
You never know. Exactly.
So it's a fun day. I can't recommend it enough. Like I've tried to make it every year, and I know me and you have talked about it a couple of times, and I already put in. I got the day off of work. I will be there this year, and I'll have some kind of a camera out recording some stuff.
It'll be a pleasure to have you on hand for sure.
You will see me.
For the fans who have never been to New England Hall of Fame, like I said, it's $20 to get in the door. Guaranteed 3-hour ceremony. I mean, it's a great night of speeches, inductors, inductees, and just memorable moments that you're not going to forget. And this year, the Hall of Fame is headlined by the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, one of the most personable guys in the business. He'll take the time to talk to you. Perry Saturn, of course, going in. Paul Roma is also being inducted, as well as the late, great Hercules Hernandez. Ray Hernandez will be inducted as well. His family will be there. We actually have 26 family members flying in to pay honor, to Hercules himself. Yeah, so that's going to be special.
Another one of my favorites as a kid. That was the era I grew up in, sort of right before the Attitude Era, and it's incredible.
And then, of course, from more of a local standpoint, you have the Portuguese Princess Ariel, you have Johnny Idol, you have Ricky Sexton, who worked for the WWF, Bo Douglas, Of course, the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, Dylan Cage, Aaron Morrison, Brian Fury, and the Rocket, Fred Curry Jr.
Oh. Junior or senior?
Junior.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Senior went in 2015.
Okay. I knew.
Flying Fred Curry.
Yeah, it's guys you haven't seen in a while, and then you get the Brian Furies and stuff who just recently retired, the Bo Douglases, two of the best trainers, period, right now.
Right.
So it's just incredible. And this year I would be going for Bo and Brian regardless.
Sure.
So it's a fun event. I can't recommend this enough, guys. Like, if you ever wanted to go and just be in the same room, and like Joe said, there's going to be you're going to hear casual conversations between a lot of these guys because they don't see each other.
Right.
Exactly. So it's such a personal event. It's such just fun and laid back, and it's at the same time it's well organized. So you get the meet and greet, and then after, I believe there's a break, right? Is there?
Yeah. So the Fan Fest itself will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then there'll be a 2-hour break. Doors open at 6 p.m. for the Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame will be from 7 until 10 p.m. So you have a 2-hour break if you want to grab dinner or whatever it may be. We'll get everything set up and reorganized for the ceremony. But the Fan Fest in the morning, we have Dan the Beast Severn coming in, a very rare New England appearance, and two WWE Hall of Famers, both, J.J. Dillon and Jimmy Valiant will be signing autographs together there at the event. Perry Saturn, just incredible. You have the New Rockers reunion, Marty Jannetty and Al Snow. You have Dangerous Danny Davis and Cloudy of the Body Donnas. Duke of Dorchester, Pete Doherty, Mario Mancini. Lanny Poffo will be there, the Genius, making his first New England Fan Fest appearance. And Richie Rich and Ricky Sexton, Tugboat Typhoon, and even former WWF announcer Sean Mooney will be there as well.
Like, you don't see Mooney often. I know you've had the Fink, Howard Finkel at a bunch of yours. You don't see Mooney often at all, anywhere, period.
Right. This will actually be Mooney's first New England appearance as far as a signing goes.
That's amazing. It's just the amount of work you put into this. Like, we all appreciate it. Being fans, I know the boys all appreciate it. It's such a great event. I can't recommend it enough, guys. All Access Entertainment.com, and like, you get the news. I was on there today, and you had the homepage set up and the news page set up. So, like you said, I don't think Just Incredible is on there yet when I look today, but I'm sure that'll be on there soon. And will he be wrapped up with the movie? I know they're still in production on that. So
they're still in production. So yeah, it won't be completed, but he'll be signing autographs and taking photos throughout the day, and he'll actually be there with somebody involved in the movie, actor and producer David Gear will be sitting with him at the table, so you'll be able to kind of talk to him and get a behind-the-scenes feel for things with them.
A chance that they're possibly recording?
It is very possible. I do know that there is going to be a film crew there that are working on a documentary for Perry Saturn, and they're going to be there filming as well.
So you get a chance to maybe get on the camera yourself, and like I said, I'll be there recording some. I'm going to try to talk to a few of the guys and put some stuff on our YouTube, and of course, use it for you guys for next year's as well.
Sure.
I love the event. I've kicked myself every year that I've missed it because I always hear about it right after. But I've gone for, like I said, Matt and Kyle Storm, Sheldon, TJ Richter. So it's not just the big names. It's, the people who listen to podcasts, let's face it, they're independent wrestling fans. They're wrestling fans. They're the biggest fans.
Right.
So you get the best of the best out of New England pro wrestling as well. Just the independent scene, the guys who, for whatever reason, didn't get the look that they deserved, and you give them that recognition. And they all, they go up, they get their plaque, they give their speech, you get to hear it. Like, getting to see guys like DC Dillinger and Dustin Sheldon, that's something that I won't forget. And you don't realize it was, and you don't realize who meant something to these people until you see these induction speeches.
And years ago, back in 2009, we had Brian Fury there inducting his trainer, the late great Steve Bradley.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, it's these guys, and you see where Brian's gone since then, and it's incredible. And he puts out some of the best talent in the world. Period. There's no contesting that. So
and for fans who have never been to something like this, there is something for everybody. So even if you're a person that's not into necessarily taking photos and meeting stars, if you're more of a merchandise person, we'll have tons of merchandise vendors there as well. Scott Wilder Promotions will be there, and Rhode Island freeradio.org. New World Wrestling Extreme will be there, a local promotion as well. Dave Cole will be there, he's a wrestler, he's an artist.
Yes.
So he's going to have all of his work there, and you could visit the Rhode Island Comic-Con table for a chance to win tickets to their event. They're going to have some merchandise for sale as well. Vinny's Wrestling Figs will be there. Connor Promotions, Captain's Corner. So it's definitely, of course, the legendary Phil Castanetti's Sports World will be there. And Bulletproof Studios, very impressed with Bulletproof Studios. They're really producing a lot of handmade pieces that so much work goes into, and they're making it specifically for sale at FanFest. So cane masks and helmets. I mean, these guys do crazy work. So to see this stuff in person is unbelievable. And LPW will be there as well, Lucky Pro Wrestling. So it's going to be a nice mix for all the fans.
Guys like Dave Cole, who Dave was a wrestler for years, and he's always had the artist thing about him, but he does some of the best mashups, some of the most stolen mashup stuff out there.
Right.
Ric Flair with the Woo symbol, that was him originally, and everybody has seen that on YouTube or on Facebook, because everyone, other people have not stolen the idea. I mean, great minds think alike, but
sure,
that was originally his. I have a copy of that hanging up in my room, and
nice.
He does a lot of like Funko Pops and stuff, like custom work, and just some awesome stuff. So if you're into the merchandise, definitely, there'll be enough there to please everybody. And I'm pumped for it, man. I've been talking about June 2nd. I got a couple of guys from work who I know are going to be going as well, and it's just going to be so much fun. It always is. And you put on every event that you've put on that I've been to has just been a ton of fun. So
I appreciate that.
And it's like a family reunion almost.
It really is. It really is, and it's a family-friendly event,
Yes.
And kids are welcome, and adults, and people of all ages. So it's going to be something special. Free parking, of course, for fans coming out. There's a cash bar. There's a concession stand. Like I said, merchandise, and there'll be autographs throughout the day. So something for everybody.
Now, what else? What else? Who's running the cash bar? Is it Angry Beaver?
Yeah, for sponsors, we have the Hometown Bar and Grill. It's the Thirsty Beaver, and they're based out of Cranston, Rhode Island. Yeah, and no problem. And they're actually putting on the VIP dinner the night before for us in Cranston, and that's for the VIP ticket holders. It was a special $200 ticket. Comes with all the bells and whistles at the Fan Fest, but also comes with the VIP dinner with 4 of the stars the night prior. So they're hosting that for us, and we also have American Trophy, based out of East Providence, Rhode Island, and the Taunton Avenue Dunkin' Donuts out of East Providence also sponsoring.
That's awesome. And that's the other thing, like, there's certain things that go on in the wrestling world, and sponsors is one of them in a lot of areas, and for some reason, New England has not tapped into that too much.
Sure.
When you do something like what you're doing, it's kind of the only way.
Exactly. And you got to tie it in. I mean, it really it helps the show, and on many levels, from financially, presentation wise, and really just partnerships, building relationships for future shows.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you check out all of those sponsors, because those are what really makes this click. I mean, Joe's hard work year round. I'm sure you're going to start planning on June 3rd next year's.
Right.
Now, Joe, where can they where can they get you on Twitter? Just is it the @any Hall of Fame?
Yep, @any Hall of Fame on Twitter, and then we have the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame Facebook page. There's also a New England Fan Fest Facebook page, and we're also on Facebook at All Access Entertainment, and then of course our website allaccessentertainment.com. Again, that's access with 2 X's. And you can message us via any of those pages, and any questions you may have. For the next 2 weeks, we're still accepting mail order as well for fans who can't make it. We're accepting mail order for Body Donna Cloudy, Jimmy Valiant, J.J. Dillon, and Dan the Beast Severn. If you have any merchandise you want to send in, we'll certainly get it signed for you and include some photo proof as well.
That's incredible. So people from around the world, around the country at least, can still get their autographs and still get whatever they need signed.
Exactly, yeah. Even if you're in a different country, we can get that done for you and ship it right out the day after the show.
Incredible. Joe, thank you for coming on. Thank you for dealing with our technical issues this week.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
I have a little work to do splicing these together. But, Joe, guys, June 2nd, it's the Holy Ghost, right? I'm saying that correct?
Yes, Saturday, June 2nd, and that's the Brotherhood of the Holy Ghost Charity Hall. It's also known locally as the Bright Ridge Club, and that's on 59 Bright Ridge Avenue in East Providence, Rhode Island.
Guys, this guy from Massachusetts could find it. It's not that hard to find.
Right.
And it's seriously, like, it always is a fun time. And I've been trying to get you, whether we've taken hiatus or we took a hiatus for quite a few years, but
right.
Doing the podcast, but we've always, me and you have always talked about getting something like this done and getting you on, and I'd love to work with some of the guys that you have coming in, and I'll be hyping it up anyway. I think we're going to have Brian Fury on. I know at some point I'm probably going to just call Bo Douglas and be like, hey, I'm interviewing you right now. But
very cool. Yeah, we'll definitely get you some guests.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate that, and I won't have internet issues that night, I promise. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you all for tuning into the Irish Whip. We will see you next Tuesday.